Where does the Giants farm system stack up after the trade deadline? It's all coming up on Locked On Giants.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. My name is Alan Stiles, talking Giants baseball with you Monday through Friday, and today is no different. We are discussing the fact that it doesn't look like the Giants are going to go on any type of fake run, and whether or not that's a good or bad thing. When I say fake run, they're going to be a couple games below 500 or a couple games above 500, whatever it is, but they're still going to miss the playoffs. We were so close, just had to do one thing or another thing differently. They're not close, and that's okay. They are regrouping there. Ranking the traded prospects, that's Kylie McDaniel from ESPN. Where do the Giants prospects stack up there? A farm system ranking in general, that's from USA Today. Are the Giants finally in that top 10? And a Ramon Marquez profile. He's the big ticket item from this trade deadline, so we give you a profile on him and everything that he may bring to the table for the Giants. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. So let's start here. You know, the Giants, after the trade deadline, they come out, they beat the Rangers. It was a pretty good game. That lineup looked absolutely ridiculous, but a lot of people were excited to see some of the younger players get an opportunity to show what they could do. And they go out, they win that game, and then we start to have, just a small conversation. Hey, are the Giants going to do the thing where, they go on a run with younger players and we feel really good about where they're at? Are they going to sweep the Rangers? They still don't have a sweep. Are they going to beat the Rangers? Are they going to sweep the Rangers? Well, the very next game, they did. It was hard fought, right? That's what they said on the broadcast. It was a gutsy game for the Giants, but they weren't able to get it done. They tied it up twice, and Osleves Basabe, I think he went crazy in that game again, but Jung-Hoo Lee got turned around at the very end, and after tying up the game in the top of the ninth, they gave up the biscuit to the basket in the bottom of the ninth and end up losing that game. And if you missed what happened yesterday, you didn't miss much, as the Giants got blanked 6-0 to the Rangers. They did have 8 hits, but they could not convert anything, and they end up leaving Arlington with obviously a losing record, but losing the series. So it is what it is. In that game, you had Devers. He had a couple knocks. Jung-Hoo Lee had a knock. Bryce Eldridge had a knock. And Eddie's Leonard had his first MLB hit. That was really the big story, and everybody was very excited for him. He's grinded it out in the minor leagues, and he's finally getting an opportunity. And that's what this season is going to turn into, right? It's going to turn into a bunch of good stories. We're seeing it with some of the other teams that were sellers, the Mets as well. But that's what this thing is going to be. It's going to be about good stories. That should be number 2. Number 1 is, are you finding anybody that you think can contribute moving forward? Number 2, there's going to be some good stories, and we're probably going to fall in love with different players, right? You might have one, I might have one, and we'll have no clue what that means for the next season. But hopefully the Giants can build on something. But I am glad that it doesn't seem like there's going to be this fake run. Now, we'll see what happens after, they have the day off today, and after that, they get the Tigers, right? They host the Tigers after their selling deadline as they moved off of Scooble and others. But the Tigers at home, you get the Astros at home, and then you get the Rockies at home as well before you go back on the road. But I want to see them play well, obviously, but at the same time, I didn't want a situation where Larry Baer can spin this and say, well, we had to sell at the deadline, but we actually had the best record in baseball, or we actually had this or that, and it really doesn't make it look that bad. No, I want it to be bad because I want them to know that how they operated, it just didn't work, and they need to do something different. That's what I want. Right? I don't necessarily want the Giants to lose, but I don't want them in a season that's all but lost to come away with these tiny victories saying, oh, it's just a tweak here, a tweak there. No, what you're doing just hasn't been working. So you need to go into the offseason with those 3 big contracts and find a way to refresh this thing whenever the next season is because of that possible lockout. That's what I want from this, right? So we'll see what happens throughout the rest of the season here. And you have, from the pitching aspect of things, you had Carson Wisenhunt, who went 3 1/3, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Carson Seymour, 2 2/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. And Jason Foley and Tristan Beck, they both got an inning each. On the Rangers side, the Rangers are just a bit confusing to me because they win that World Series. They had some young talent, and they really haven't done much since. Cody Bradford only went 4 1/3 for the Rangers, 5 hits, no earned runs, though, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. So he put himself in danger a couple times, but it didn't end up being an issue because the Giants couldn't score. So that's how it ends for the Giants, and now they can pick up the pieces however they feel fit. And you know what? We're going to see some crazy lineups, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that simply because we know what this is now. Now everybody is on one page. I think what's tough, and obviously you have guys that are pitching for their careers every single day, right? So it's not necessarily about the Eddies, the Leonards, and guys like that who are trying to show that they can stick. I think it'll be tough if I see, and I think this already kind of happened as we got closer to the deadline, the Rafi Devers of the world getting really hot. And now that it's kind of free baseball, for lack of a better term, Rafi Devers of the world getting hot. Willie Adames, if he starts to go off. Matt Chapman, whenever he gets back. Look, maybe it could still help because, hey, look at these numbers, maybe they're still tradable, but at the same time, and I've said this before, there is a difference between performing when the team still has something on the line and performing when the season is all but over. A lot of people joke Willie Adames about that already when it comes to the actual gameplay, and they'll say, well, Willie, he always kind of shows up when the game is already out of reach, whether the Giants are winning and they're up big or they're down big. That's when you'll see a Willie Adames home run. And some of that might not be completely fair, but those are some of the conversations that have been had time and time again. So for me, that's going to be the toughest part. Now, I'd rather have that conversation and complain about it than complain about them just being bad the whole time. Don't get me wrong. But if they start to turn this on because it's loosey-goosey and, hey, there's nothing on the line, that's going to be a little bit frustrating simply because we needed that when it mattered. It doesn't really matter anymore. The only way it can matter is if, especially with the possible lockout, the only way it can matter is if, hey, that is something that's going to help maybe move these guys during the offseason. So that's the way I look at it. I'm not going to sit here and say that it doesn't matter because that would be ridiculous. Anybody pitching to Devers or pitching to Adames or pitching to Chapman, they're not trying to let them hit just because they're not contending anymore. They're going to face teams that are contending. They're going to face pitchers and players that are trying to stay in the league. So don't get me wrong for 1 second about that. But there is a mindset that's a little bit different when you know that the season is out of reach, right? I want to see them play in high leverage games, and we've been robbed of that again, as we have been for majority of the last decade or maybe longer than that, outside of one season when they won 107 games. So that's just kind of is what it is and how I feel about it. But I don't think there's going to be a fake run anytime here soon. On the other side, ranking the traded prospects, that's from Kylie McDaniel, and a full-on farm system ranking. A lot of prospect talk to continue on with the show. More Locked On Giants coming up. Support for today's episode comes from Clutch Parlays. Whether you're betting on the big game, player props, or building your next parlay, having the right information makes all the difference. Tracking odds across sportsbooks like FanDuel, finding value picks, building parlays, tracking bets, and analyzing performance, Clutch Parlays gives you the tools to make every wager with more confidence. What makes Clutch Plays stand out is how they make everything so accessible. Instead of piecing together odds, pregame analysis, live predictions, bet tracking, and analytics from a bunch of different places, Clutch Parlays brings it all together in one streamlined experience. experience. I don't like throwing picks together just to make a bigger payout. I want to understand the value of submitting my bet. Clutch Parlays helps me do that. Find the best line, build smarter parlays, track every bet, and make more informed betting decisions, all with clutchparlays.com. Go to clutchparlays.com today and use code LOCKEDON for your first month free on a monthly plan. Clutchparlays.com. Bring together live odds, line shopping, predictions, bet tracking, and analytics in one place so you can bet with more confidence. Pick smarter, parlay sharper. Before we continue today's show, it's time for the Everyday Icon presented by Stance. As the official sock partner of Major League Baseball, Stance knows greatness isn't built in a single moment. It's earned over time through consistency, preparation, and showing up every day. That's why each week we're recognizing one player whose performance embodies those same qualities. You know I'm a sucker for a good story. This week's Everyday Icon is Eddys Leonard. Eddys Leonard got the call up earlier this week. He has grinded it out forever in the minor leagues. The Everyday Icon is presented by Stance. Check out the Icon collection from Stance. Premium comfort, performance, and durability designed for whatever your day brings. Use promo code LOCKEDON at checkout for 20% off your purchase. Stance, the official sock partner of Major League Baseball. Learn more at stance.com. Next segment with you, and we have this from Kylie McDaniel. This is MLB trade deadline ranking prospects who changed teams. So he says MLB trade deadline has passed with contenders adding to their MLB rosters for the upcoming stretch and rebuilding clubs landing young players with an eye to the future before 6 p.m. Eastern on Monday arrived. He said that's why we're here giving our ranking of every notable prospect dealt this trade season, 86 of them in all, sorted by tiers using my future value grades so you can see where they slot in an MLB top 100 list or your team's farm system ranking. So long story short, he's got different tiers, right? The 50 future value grade is the highest one that he has on this breakdown. So number one that he has just in general, so everybody knows, Zaire Hope, right fielder for the Detroit Tigers. And of course, he came over in that Scooble deal with the Dodgers. So he is number one. Let's get to the Giants because that's what we care about. You have at number 7, Ramon Marquez. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about Ramon Marquez, obviously, in the next segment when we do his profile. But here is the breakdown. Marquez has a plus changeup, and he also throws a fastball that sits 94, 96, hitting 98 miles per hour, though its shape is just okay. So the changeup helps keeps hitters honest. His cutter slider hybrid is solid at 88 to 90 miles per hour, and Marquez's command should be enough to start. Some evaluators are skeptical of right-handed pitchers whose changeups are ahead of their breaking balls, but that's overly nitpicking a potential number 3, number 4 starter. He's in the mix for the back of my top 100 prospect list, but feels like he's just outside of it for now. There's also a compelling case due to age and injuries to put Marquez ahead of River Ryan. River Ryan is sitting at number 6, and he's also about 27, 28 years old, and that's why people were making fun of the Dodgers and the Tigers because River Ryan is not your typical prospect at that age. Let's continue on here. You have at number 13, and this is the 45 future value tier, and he's number 1 for 45 for whatever that's worth. Joniel Hernandez, who I believe hit a home run yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. He came over in that Robbie Ray deal, 17 years old. I mean, the Giants, their shortstop, second base, up the middle positions just stacked in theory. Right now, we got to see who's going to actually pan out for them, but they got a lot of options and they're taking a ton of bites at the apple. I know Padres fans weren't super thrilled that the Padres moved off of him, but hey, one man's trash is another man's treasure, and hopefully the 17-year-old shortstop ends up being a dude for the Giants. Next on the list, you have Henry Lelane, left-handed pitcher who came over in the Elliot Ramos deal. He is ranked at number 15, so a couple under Joniel Hernandez, who's at 13. At number 24, and this is the 40 future value tier, you have Caden Kent, shortstop, San Francisco Giants. He came over in that Elliot Ramos deal as well. At number 26, Miguel Mendez, Giants in that Robbie Ray deal, right-handed pitcher. As we continue on here, then you got to go all the way down to 69 for Marty Gare, right-handed pitcher who came over in that Luis Ariz deal. And that's all she wrote. So, I mean, it's hard not to be excited about this because the Giants and everything that they had to do. I know the Giants, you didn't want them to be in the selling conversation. I know I didn't, but they're here now. And the best that we can hope for is that these guys pan out. Now, all of them won't. That's just impossible or very improbable. But if a couple of them do, you can look back and say, hey, Buster, you did a solid job there. And some of the guys that we have seen Buster kind of take these chances on, right? Drew Gilbert, look, I don't know what Drew Gilbert is going to be, but he seems to look enough like a big leaguer, right? And he can hit right-handed pitching. He plays good defense. You know, in a lot of these deals, you're not going to end up getting a star. That's why the John Yell deal is fascinating because the Padres giving up a 17-year-old shortstop, I'm just not really sure what they were thinking for a 34-year-old Robbie Ray. I don't know how Buster pulled that one off because a lot of these guys, you know, they could be in AA, whatever the case is, but they don't rate that high. And obviously John Yell isn't ranked as high as the Zaire Hopes and guys like that, but he's still a 17-year-old shortstop. You don't know what he is. Right? You don't know what he is now. He's not even done developing and growing and all of that. So that to me, I know Ramon Marquez is kind of the main guy. Those two right there. And then you have, and I guess they didn't include Meyer because Meyer has been in the big leagues. This is his second year in the big league. So that's why I believe Kylie McDaniel did not include Meyer. But then you get Meyer as well from the Red Sox. So, you know, I mean, Buster, he kind of cleaned up. Right. We don't know. It's almost like storage wars in a way. You open you pay to open the storage and you have no clue what's going to be in there. Maybe it's, you see the Wilt Chamberlain jacket somebody got at a thrift shop, sold for however, 100,000, whatever it was, might have even been more than that. So you just don't know what you're going to get. And that's where Buster Posey is right now. I think we can say for the most part that we all feel pretty comfortable with Buster Posey when it comes to selling off parts that you know you're probably not going to use, right? Or you know there's an expiration date on them. I feel fairly confident saying that Buster Posey is good at that. I don't feel as confident saying that he's good at X, Y, and Z other parts of his job. So I think the reason that I maybe didn't come off like I'm giving him the same flowers as everybody else is because this just solidified that Buster Posey is good at this aspect of his job, right? But we all have coworkers or bosses that are good at certain parts of their job, but not so good at other parts of their job, right? We know you can do this, but can you do other things? You could look at it like a player, right? Hey, we know you can leave the yard when a pitcher misses his spot. Right? But can you handle the baseball bat? Can you get a runner over when you need to? Can you do what you need to do with two strikes? We know when it's 3-1, 2-1, 3-0, 2-0, we know that you can get a fastball and you can send it to the moon. Can you do other things? Right? Can you be a complete baseball player? Buster Posey was a complete baseball player. He has not been a complete president of baseball operations, at least not yet. But one thing we do know that he knows how to do is find a way to get value in situations where you didn't expect him to. Now, the other thing, and this is from USA Today Sports that I wanted to lay out, the Giants, you thought maybe they would crack the top 10. They jumped up 3 spots, but they are not. This is from John Hofling, the best MLB farm system after the trade deadline power rankings of all 30 teams. The Giants were close. We thought they would crack the top 10, and they come in at, drum roll please, number 11. The Giants come in at number 11. So very close to cracking the top 10, and maybe they'll be there the next time everybody looks over these. They were 14th prior to the trade deadline. So they jumped up 3 spots, okay? Top 5 prospects: Josuar Gonzalez, Luis Hernandez, Johnny Level, who had another home run yesterday, Gavin Keelan, and Dakota Jordan. Obviously, Giants fans would have loved to see guys like Matt Chapman, Devers, or Adames shipped away this year, but the team didn't need to give away too much while acquiring some solid prospects. Guys like Miguel Mendez, Joniel Hernandez, and Ramon Marquez are all immediate top 30 guys in the Giants system and give the team some much-needed pitching depth. Elliot Ramos, that deal acquired a borderline top 5 prospect from the Yankees in Henry Lelaine. This was a massive get for the Giants, offering them much more pitching depth in the minors than they came into the deadline with. So ahead of them, the Twins at 10, the Guardians at 9, the White Sox at 8, the Tigers at 7. Tigers were at 11. They jumped up 4 because of, and they should have with the big moves that they made. Miami Marlins at 6, the Cardinals at 5, the Brewers at 4, the Nationals at 3, the Dodgers still at 2. They dropped from 1, and the Seattle Mariners at number 1. They were number 3. So a lot of movement because a lot of players did get moved, 86 players. So happy for the Giants that they were able to jump up, and hopefully this pans out for them. Seems to pan out for other teams. Hopefully it can pan out for the Giants. One more segment with you. Let's get into that Ramon Marquez profile, the big ticket from the trade deadline. More Locked On Giants coming up. Make baseball season more this year. On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade on every single game, including the Twins taking on the Royals. The Twins with a 47% chance to get that done. So the Royals have a better chance at 53%. You can go check that out at Kalshi.com. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house, and as the probabilities change, you can buy in and out of your position. Download the Kalshi app and use code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade 10. Kalshi. Kalshi. Trade on anything. 18 and up only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see Kalshi.com/regulatory. There is nothing like watching a Giants game even after the trade deadline, and they were sellers. Even better when you get to watch it live. The excitement, the fans, the only problem, getting tickets can feel like a grind. Long queues, surprise fees, prices jumping at checkout. That's where there's Game Time. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's simple to use. The Game Time guarantee means you get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. And here's the best part. Fees are included in the price you see. What you see is what you pay, period. The seat views feature is huge. I can see the panoramic view from my exact seat before I buy. Zone Deals lets me pick the section and save even more while Game Time selects the seat. You can follow your favorite team and get alerts when new deals drop. I've seen some tickets drop as low as $10. 2 taps and it's done. No stress, no hidden fees, just great seats in minutes. That's what makes it so easy to decide last minute to hit a game. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Next segment with you, and we have a Ramon Marquez profile. This is from MLB Trade Rumors. Looking at the Giants' return, Marquez is the clear headliner of the package. Obviously, the deal that they did with the Phillies. He signed with the Phillies as an international free agent out of Mexico in January 2025, and he's worked 59 innings with a 1.69 ERA in 2026, the last 30 of which have been at the high A level. Marquez is striking out an incredible 41.9% of opposing hitters while generating grounders more than 50% of the time. You know the Giants love that. He was ranked at number 4 in the Phillies system, according to MLB.com. The Giants were clearly intrigued by his mid-90s fastball and strikeout potential. They'll see if Marquez can maintain them as he works toward the higher levels of the minors. So That's just a quick breakdown for you. Ramon Marquez, he's 20 years old. He's going to be 21 in September 19th. So a little bit of time there still. And we gave you the breakdown from Kylie McDaniel. This is the one, right? If you look at Philly's social media, if you did on the trade deadline, they weren't happy about this at all, and we are very happy about it. So we hope that as he gets to the higher levels of the minors, he continues on this stretch and continues striking guys out. That ground ball rate is a huge deal for the Giants. So as we kind of go and get into the next phase of this, who are the guys that you're going to see first? At 20 years old, no real need to rush him. Hopefully, we see him around, I don't know, 23, maybe even 22 years old, but definitely 23 years old as well. And the Giants, they knew they needed pitching depth. They were able to, and I saw Buster Posey say they only have Jackson Flora in front of him, right? And that's who you took with the number 4 overall pick. And he was in college. So both of these guys should be accelerated at least a little bit, and we can start to see some. That's no disrespect to the Trevor McDonald's, the Carson Wisenhunts, the Carson Seymours, all these guys, the Hayden Birdsongs, all these guys that we've seen a little bit, but it was time for the Giants to get a new crop of pitchers in there. Blade Tidwell, I've been talking about Blade Tidwell the whole time. I didn't even give him a shout out for, his game he started. That was the game I think they got walked off on, if I'm not mistaken. But Blade Tidwell, 5 innings pitched, six hits, 2 earned runs. He held his own, right? He held his own in there. So shout out Blade Tidwell, continuing, and he came over in a trade last season. So you continue to get these guys. Just accept that internally, your farm system, the pitching just isn't good enough. And you've seen flashes from guys. I get it. And that's not to say that they can't fully figure it out. We'll see Trevor McDonald when he gets back from injury in about a year or so. Like we said, Carson Wisenhunt has shown us some things at times, but you have to keep, I know I said it before, but have to keep taking bites at the apple. And that's what they did with Ramon Marquez, 20 years old, number 4 in the Phillies system. Now let me see where the Phillies fall. I don't think they're in the top 10, and obviously they lost some guys, so they moved anyway. But where the Phillies were, as far as they're number 21, they were 18. So, you're going and getting these top prospects from teams that maybe didn't have the best farm systems in the league, but you're taking their top guys, and that's all you can ask for. Thank you for listening to Locked On Giants. Thank you for watching Locked On Giants. Be sure to follow me on social media at @_Styles Files, Styles with an I. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB. We will talk to you tomorrow. Until then, peace.